let's start with the next set of questions for the GS paper 1. Now here the questions pertain to history and geography predominantly. So let's talk about the very first question. Now this question talks about who led a military campaign against Sri Vijay Kingdom, and this was one of the major maritime states ruling the Malay Peninsula, the regions of Sumatra, Java and the neighboring areas. So the correct answer is Rajendra I of Chola dynasty, and he is known for his extensive military conquests. We have covered this in the sections on medieval history. So if you want to understand more about the Chola dominance in the maritime region, you can refer the lectures there. The next question is the 16 Mahajanpads of India, very important. Now these Mahajanpads, if we look on to which of those are correctly matched, so Askama matches with Godavari, that is correct. Kamboj, as you can see, lies in the region of Kashmir and Hindu Kush. So Vipasa, which is Bias, is not the correct answer here because Bias mainly flows through the region of Punjab. Avanti is the Ujjaini, the region of Ujjain with the capital Ujjaini in Madhya Pradesh. So Mahanadi is not the correct answer. Through the Ujjain, the river that flows is Shipra. And Kausalya is the region of the Ayodhya. So Shravasti and Saryu river is the correct answer. So two of them are the correct matches. Now the next question, the Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, the first musical training institute, was established in 1901 by Vishnu Digambar Pulashkar, and this was in Lahore. Very important. And this was a Hindustani classical music which was established pre-independence in the Indian subcontinent area, which was previously the India, and Lahore was the region. Now very important, the empire of Ashoka was divided into four provinces: Dakshinapat, Uttarpat, Western province and Kaling. And of these there were three important names that were demarcated at the district level, and these were the Pradeshika, Rajuka and Yukta. Now Pradeshika was a high ranking officer, Rajuka was an officer with extensive powers, and Yukta were the ones who were assisting the Rajukas and the Pradeshikas. So all of these three belong to the district level administration. Now if you have gone through the topics of Indian history carefully, the ancient, medieval, modern, there is no reason you won't be able to solve these questions. Very factual, and definitely they require a little extensive reading. The next is non-cooperation movement. Now very important thing here is this was implemented with civil disobedience and non-payment of taxes for the next stage only if Swaraj did not come within a year, and this was something that Gandhiji had emphasized carefully. So if this was a weak point of the passage here, right? So this is a correct answer. This was within the year and government resorted to repression. Congress declared attainment of Swaraj by peaceful means as its objective. That was very true, and this happened at the Nagpur session. So both 1 and 2 are the correct options here. So C become the correct answer. The next question, alternative investment funds. Now alternative investment funds, as the name suggests, they are not traditional. So bonds and stocks are the traditional ones. We can simply rule them off because they are traditional fixed income securities, we can say, and stocks are in the publicly traded companies. Hedge funds are an alternative investment funds. Now hedge funds are basically where you have these hedge funds actually pool the money from bigger investors who have high net worth, and they are actually falling under the category 3 of the alternative investment fund. So very important. Venture capitalists fall under category 1 of the alternative investment funds, and then you have private equity funds which fall under the category 2. So here 2 and 4 are the correct options. So only 2 of the given choices are correct. The next is, which of the following are sources of income for RBI? Very important. Now RBI generates income by government bonds and foreign currencies. That's correct. It's not with the pension funds or lending to the private company. Now comes a very important and a topic that could be tricky. Now, important to note that so it has been important to note that RBI has been printing currencies with bringing income. The idea is to reduce the cost on the face value, and this has been known as seigniorage. However, RBI has been trying to bring income, which is called as seigniorage system. Now, we have a table here. We have to identify the organization, functions, and under whom they work. Now, ED has been in news, a lot of cases on Supreme Court going on with ED. So, of course, there was an expected question from ED as we had discussed in expected series. Now, ED talks about the Fugitive Economic Offender Act 2018. It also talks about the PMLA money laundering case and the FEMA case, right? But it does not work under the internal security. It works under the Department of Revenue, under the Ministry of Finance. So this is incorrect. Directorate of Revenue and Intelligence talks about the provisions for Custom Act and works under Department of Revenue. That's correct. Directorate General of Data Systems and Data Management again works under Department of Revenue and talks about big data analytics. So again correct. So 2 and 3 are correct. 1 is incorrect because whom under it works is incorrect. However, the function given is correct. So only 2 of the given rows are correct match. The next is the business responsibility and sustainable report. Now, RBI mandates all listed companies to submit a business responsibility and sustainability report. Now, this is a incorrect statement because this is not mandated by RBI, that is mandated by SEBI. So SEBI is the correct option here, correct organization here. Now in India, a company submitting a business responsibility and sustainability report makes disclosure in the report that they are largely non-financial in nature. This is correct. Now this disclosure talks about the disclosures on environment, social and governance aspect. So 2 is the correct option. So we have B as the correct answer here. Coming on next, which of the following options describe relationship between the statements? Very, very interesting question. Now, income tax and related questions have been important this time. This is a very important question. Let's first talk about statement 2. In India, rural agricultural land is not classified as capital asset under the Income Tax Provision Act 1961. That's incorrect. Sorry, it's not classified, right? So this is a correct statement. So if it was, it is considered as a capital asset, it was incorrect. So rural land, just to repeat, to avoid any confusion, rural land is not considered a capital asset, and that has been specifically excluded from the Income Tax Act, right? Coming on to the activity. Now, if there is any activity which is agriculture, it is not considered under ambit of income tax. However, poultry farming, wool rearing, animal husbandry, dairy farming, sericulture are all excluded from agricultural activity. So they are accountable for income tax under the provisions, right? So statement 1 is incorrect, 2 is correct. So we have 1 is incorrect and 2 is correct. That's the right answer. The next is, of the given statements, India has joined the Mineral Security Partnership as a member. Very, very correct here. The next is, India is a resource-rich country in all the critical 30 minerals. Very important. Now read the language carefully. India is a resource-rich country with 30 critical minerals, but it's not rich in all the 30 critical minerals. It has all the 30 critical minerals, but it is not rich. It has identified that there are 30 critical minerals that can be found in India. So this is incorrect. Coming on to the next. Parliament in 2023 amended the Mines Act 1957, empowering the state to exclusively auction mining lease and composite license for certain critical minerals. That's correct. And this was mainly for cobalt, nickel, potash, tin, then there was phosphate. So those were some of the minerals for which the government has amended the provisions of Mines Act 1957. So 3 is correct. We have 1 and 3 as the correct choice here. Coming on next. Now, as regards the return on an investment in a company, bondholders are considered at lower risk. Now, this is a correct statement. Bonds are considered safer than stocks. Now, bonds lend to a company, stocks to the owner of the company. So stocks are basically have a portion of the company. So once you invest in a stock, you are becoming becoming a part of the company, in the sense you are holding certain part of the company with you, right? So statement 2 is again correct. For repayment, bonds are always coming before the stocks. So that's again correct. So understand, in a summary, I can say that bonds and securities, bonds and stocks, both of them are securities. But when it comes to the differences, we would understand that bonds are creditors of the company, stocks have a stake or a equity in the company, and creditors always have a priority over stockholders. So whenever there is a repayment, creditors would be repaid first, and then the ones who have a stake in the company, right? So all the three statements are correct. Very important. This was a third question from bonds and stocks itself. So very, very important. The next is, India accounts for a very large portion on all equity option contracts traded globally, and therefore has seen a great boom. That's particularly correct, because India has NSE, which has become one of the global leaders in equity trading. Now the next is, India's stock market has grown rapidly in the recent past, overtaking Hong Kong at some point of time. That was correct, because in early 2024 we actually saw higher market capitalization as compared to Hong Kong. The next is, there is no regulatory body to warn the small investors of the risk. That's incorrect. We have SEBI, and SEBI's role is to actually warn the investors that they are at a risk for any unregistered financial advisors or any other thing. So they do give the warning signal. So SEBI is the organization. 1 and 2 are the correct options therefore. The next, circular economy. This was discussed, I believe, back in 2023 special edition of Down to Earth, somewhere in July or August. I don't remember the year. But this was a special dedicated edition on circular economy. And circular economy obviously reduces the emissions of greenhouse gases. That's correct. It reduces the raw material because you are using the same product again and again. And we have studied this case study of circular economy, talking about the clothes being circled in the regions of Africa, coming from the regions of US and Europe. Now definitely it reduces the use of raw material as an input, because the same thing is being used, and it reduces the wastage in the production process. That is again correct. And both these statements support statement 1, because they would ultimately help in reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. So both of them are correct, and both of them correctly explain statement 1. Now, capital receipts create a liability or reduction in the asset of the government. That is correct, because capital receipts are inflow of the funds that either create a liability, that's the borrowing, or they lead to the reduction in the government asset of loans, that is the disinvestment proceeds, which is because of the selling of any PSUs, right? So 1 is the correct statement. Borrowings and disinvestments, as I already said, so that's the two things. Liability comes in the form of borrowing, reduction of assets comes in the form of disinvestment. So this is again correct. Now, interest received on the loans create a receipt, revenue receipt for the government, not a liability. So 1 and 2 are the correct options here. So A is the correct answer. The next is, which of the following are members of NATO? Now NATO, obviously with the Ukraine-Russia crisis, we have NATO and the allies. Very, very important. A new member joined, and that is what the question was focusing on. So in 2024 March, Sweden joined. So the other members are Bulgaria, we have Croatia and North Macedonia. So Sweden also joined. So 4 of them are the correct ones. The next is, which of the countries here have the mountain ranging passing through it? Okay, so Andes. So Andes, if we look onto the map here, you have Rockies on North America and Andes on the South America, and this is on the western coast. So any country which is on the eastern coast would be exempted. So Paraguay, not part of it. Brazil, not part of it. So the countries lying on the east would definitely be exempted. So we have the other 4 ones: Bolivia, Colombia, Ecuador and Venezuela as the correct answer. So only 4. The next is, which of the water bodies do not have equator passing through them? So we have, just for your sake, we have brought one of the maps here, that is for the Lake Tanganyika, and that is crossing somewhere around 5. 0 is up, and this does not reach 0 degrees. So Tanganyika does not cross the equator. Similarly, Tonle Sap and Patas Lagoon, which is located in the southern parts of Brazil, Tonle Sap, which is located in the regions of Cambodia, again do not have equator passing through them. They are somewhere around 10 to 15 degrees north, and this is somewhere around 20 to 30 degrees south, right? This is approximate what I remember, but yes, you can check the map for more. But none of these countries have equator passing through them. Now the next is about turmeric production in India. India is the largest producer and exporter of the turmeric in 2023 and holds the position consistently in terms of consumption, export, production as well, right? So 70 to 80% global production comes from India itself. There are around 30 varieties that are grown in India. That's again correct. Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu are the leading states. Again correct. So a very, very theoretical basic question. So all three statements are correct here. The next is again another interesting question from geography, continental drift theory. Now, the ancient belt of rocks from Brazil matches with West Africa. That's very true. And that's how we say the country separated. So, this is the region of Southern America and this is the region of Africa. And if we look onto the map of continental drift and how continents drifted apart, we see through the seesaw match, these continents actually match within one another. So, this is the correct one. So, first one is the correct option. The next one is the gold deposits of Ghana are derived from Brazilian plateau. Both the continents lie side by side. So again true. Gondwana system in India is known to have counterparts in 6 different landmasses in southern hemisphere. That's again true. And this is the spread of India across Africa, Antarctica, Australia and then regions of Southern America. So there has been a sequence through which it has been drifted apart. So all these three are correct. So for more information, you can refer my class on continental drift. The next one here is another interesting question. Now the tropical, subtropical and temperate areas are known for their dry winds, and these local winds are, for example, in India are called as Lu, and they are known by different names in different parts of the world. So this statement that they have less dry winds is incorrect statement. The amount of dust particle is more in the tropical and temperate areas than in the equatorial and the polar. That's obviously a very, very true, because this is the region which experiences dry conditions, desertification, more of human activities, and therefore more amount of dust, as simple. So 1 is true, 2 is incorrect. So you have C as the correct option. Okay, now the next question, the next question here is, in January, northern hemisphere, the isotherms bend equatorward while crossing the landmass and poleward while crossing the oceans. So that's very, very true statement. So January, what happens is the landmass cool more rapidly, and as a result, the isotherms would bend at a greater extent on the land as compared to the ocean. So the statement 1 is correct statement. Now coming on to the statement 2, in January, okay, so that's what is explained. Okay, so land over the ocean is warmer than over the land masses. That's what I explained. So obviously this is a correct reason for 1. So 1 and 2 both are correct, and 2 explains 1. So A is the correct choice here. The next is, in context of the effect of water on rock, chalk is known for the permeable rock, clay is known for impermeable or less permeable. That's relatively correct, because chalk is more porous. So if you take a simple chalk from your blackboard from the blackboard box in a school, and school or a college, you would allow the water to pass in, you would see that it seeps or it absorbs all the water. Relatively, clay is less permeable, right? So chalk is porous and absorbs more water is correct. Clay is not porous at all. That is incorrect. That's not correct, right? So here I can say only one of the statement 2 and 3 is correct, and that explains the reason for statement 1. So statement 2 explains statement 1, 3 is not correct. Clay is porous but relatively less porous as compared to chalk, right? So it has tiny particles, it does allow the movement of the water, it's not totally impermeable. The next is the following statements, which of them are correct? Without the atmosphere, temperature would be well below the freezing point everywhere on the earth's surface. That's very true, because atmosphere acts as an insulating layer and therefore traps the heat and therefore does not allow the temperature to drop to extreme levels. So 1 is correct. Heat absorbed and trapped by the atmosphere maintains our average planet temperatures. That's again correct, because that's how we have the heating effect on the earth. That's the short wave radiations are absorbed and the long wave radiations are left, and the difference is absorbed by the earth itself. The atmospheric gases like carbon dioxide are good at trapping. That's the reason that they are one of the greenhouse gases. So all the three statements here are correct. Right now, this is one of the very important topics of the basics of climatology. So students from geography definitely have an edge in answering this question. The next question is considering the statements on Rashtriya Gokul Mission. So Rashtriya Gokul Mission, Gokul as the name suggests, so animal, livestock. Now these we have been discussing through our editions on Yojana and Kurukshetra. Specifically in Kurukshetra, we have been talking about rural development, and livestock was one of the specific editions that we had discussed before. So it talks about uplifting the poor as a majority of low producing indigenous animals which are with the small and marginal farmers and landless laborers. That's correct. And it promotes indigenous species better and aims to conserve them in a holistic manner. That's again correct. So both the statements are correct here. So with this, we covered the first 50 questions. We had already covered a class for the first 25 questions, and this was the next in the sequence. We'll be covering the other 50 questions in the next two videos. Stay tuned, and of course, don't miss the main series that we have. Do follow the link below. Thanks for joining in. Have a great day.